are back. Beyond Flat Earth, the Limitless Channel, Awake Souls. You know what it is, Wednesday night. How's it going, everybody?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm great too as well. I'm just pulling up some links here. Nice to see everybody.
So everybody, this is my new studio. Let's see, Derek, or not Derek, but D Marble. He's supposed to be, a YouTube flat earther that lives in his van. And I actually live in an RV. Something new, something I'm excited about. Part of a plan that I've initiated to live as simple of a life as possible, but yet comfortable, and trying to work my way out into the country where I'm away from people. I can produce my own electricity, and just real quiet, real peaceful. So the process is initiated, it's being implemented, and so far it's been great. I'm happy about it.
That's good to see, brother. It's good to see. I think it's going to work out great. Day by day, man, we're going to get back to all kinds of stuff. Thought this was a pretty funny meme. Not too many were funny, but this one was good. You having globe problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 33 problems. Russian vids ain't one. Because you remember they had their big, I don't know. I think Hyena might be a show too. I don't know. Who knows? Faceless, voiceless person, right? Hey, what's up, Elias? Good to see you. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Derek. Always nice to see everybody in the chat. We got gonna go over some stuff tonight. This talk about this flat Earth debate that happened here on the NonSequitur Show. But yeah, what else do you want to chat about?
Yeah, that's about it. You're the one that had watched this video and told me, hey, I think you said that you feel like Nathan did better than any of the other flat earthers that actually defending flat earth in a fight. So it'll be interesting. I haven't watched it yet. So what we're going to do is go through and, stop it, put our commentary. We've got the Fight the Flat Earth guy who, fortunately, I've avoided seeing much of his material.
Yeah, you're lucky.
So I'll be exposed to that tonight. I've seen Nathan before, but I didn't see him debate. Godless Engineer was the moderator for the debate that we had against Red's Rhetoric and Sean Hufford. And so we had Kyle, Steve, and Godless Engineer. So it was essentially,
and Red's Rhetoric, then Sean Hufford.
Kyle. It was essentially 5 versus 2. But in our debate, Kyle and Steve, I think they pretty much
they didn't get a chance to interject because we held the lines, right? We were like down to the second with our presentations.
Yeah, but Godless Engineer actually did step in as a third debater when Reds and Sean couldn't come up with enough material.
Didn't I tell him to put his dunce cap back on? And then they showed the actual intro where he put the dunce cap on.
Yeah, that's funny. The NonSequitur Show actually has posted the pre-show where Ronnie and I think it's about 30 minutes long, where it was where we first went into the call and we were getting set as to how things were going to go, and they had a constant conversation rolling, and Ronnie and I were just befuddled by it. It was unbelievable. It was.
Yeah, I was on something that night, man. My spirit was cranked. I interjected once, really. I was like, I was like the kid throwing in a bunch of stats. Did you know? I don't know, man. I was so in the zone that night. That was one of the craziest times of my life. And then, of course, my treatment got really bad by the people on the NonSequitur Show and their chat for absolutely no reason. They would do Jeopardy and I'd play, right? I'd go along with it. I'd stomach all the insults, all the mocking, just to sort of see what was going on. But then they got really bad. Someone was like, "We don't want you here." And I was like, "Fine, I'm not going to stay around. I got way too much belief in my creator and myself to be talked to like that, and I've never gone back to the channel. But I can review the videos when I want. That's not.
Yeah. But isn't it funny how tiny this overall platform is that we get to? You know, it's the NonSequitur Show that promotes all this heliocentric nonsense and really push science, super atheist, super anti-God. You know, homosexuality is promoted there. And, you know, there's just these limited channels here on YouTube that are fighting this fight. And it's funny the characters we get forced to interact with.
Oh, yeah. And I think we're in for a good one tonight because this Fight the Flat Earth has some really funny answers. So I think we should just jump right into this. And super shout out to Ruth Ann. Blessed to see you, sister. Thank you for joining us. Very, very thankful. All the work that you're sharing, all our videos. Amen, sister.
Yeah, it's awesome.
After we get through with this show, I didn't want you guys to think I'd forgotten about that, but we just had to, it got to the wire and we had to close out.
Those have never shown movement of Earth ever, and they're actually
I'll slow it down.
calibrated on a level plane. The Federal Airline Administration's Target Generation Facility is a simulator.
What about
for
1 1/4?
air traffic control.
Well, that's 1.5. What about 1 1/4?
The flat and stationary Earth, and they actually in the software say that they don't account for a gravity vector. So Elias effect debunks the Foucault pendulum because they don't work during eclipses. Every ancient civilization knew the Earth was flat. They weren't idiots. They didn't need to go to public schooling to figure out where they live. They used the sky as a perfect clock and a perfect map. Angular size of Mercury being 3,000 miles in diameter, even at its closest point to Earth at 70 million miles, would be impossible to see based on its angular perspective. The Antarctica, all pictures of it curved like a perimeter, not like an island. The Antarctic Treaty, you know, just a lot of...
No, that was a lie.
No.
There's no proof of any Antarctic curve.
No, that's just a made up.
That was absolute lie.
There's plenty of footage of Antarctica that doesn't have ice wall, and you've really only seen 5 or 6 real pictures of an ice wall, and they just have been memed up over and over and over. They would require over 60,000 miles of ice wall.
And some of those are from northern part of the Earth as well. A lot of those a lot of that footage is from northern tours,
like Greenland, and
yeah, there's cruises that go north out of Vancouver and lots of that. And that was just absolute lie.
Aren't allowed to independently investigate Antarctica. There's videos of astronauts drowning in space. Astrolabes were created to detect all the motion and plan all the motion for the heavenly or celestial bodies. And those were invented before anyone even thought the Earth was a globe, or before the first globe was even created. Bar des Crans is the world record photograph. It's over 270 miles, so it would be impossible even from the elevation.
What?
That's remember when we were doing the research on how far we can see?
Yeah.
Right. And even in my presentation for the debate against Reds, if you're on the observation deck of the Burj Khalifa, 1,800 feet up in the air, still the distance to the horizon is like 52 miles. Right. So these pictures that they talk about where you can see 270 miles, do you understand the elevation that you would have to be at in order to just angular resolution see that? Yet anybody that's used the P900 knows the objects that get to like, what is it, 40 miles? Well, 40 miles, you were saying up in Canada, you were able to see the Rockies from about 40 miles away, right?
Yeah, same with the CN Tower, about 40 miles away.
Yeah. And then you're going to, you know, he's promoting this
Kanagawa
and these 207. That's absolute disinfo. It's not real.
Not real.
Photograph was taken on a globe Earth. Bedford levels a world record and repeated experiment. The God's word actually supports a flat state.
That's not true. There's still debate whether or not the ball earthers say it proves ball. Robotham says it proves that it was flat. Then they went to the ocean and they watched the ship sail away, and then they said the Earth is a ball, right? And Robotham was gone.
Yeah, he bolted.
That was the end of it. No, it was they were looking at a lighthouse, and they moved further away, and the lighthouse was being obstructed.
It disappeared from the bottom up.
That's right.
Due to perspective.
Stationary Earth. So if anyone thinks they know more about creation than God, I call them a fool to their face. But Big Dipper has 2 stars that always point towards Polaris. There is no parallax. The Bolivian salt flats are 4,000 square miles of flat surface. Bridges and plumb bobs don't account for curvature. If you put a plumb bob on each side of a bridge, they're always parallel to each other and perpendicular to the floor. Buoyancy and density is really all you need to describe things rising up or down. This magnetic-like attraction that gravity is supposed to have with all objects attracting all other objects has never been proven. Centrifugal force would debunk gravity because things should weigh drastically different at the poles than they do at the equator, but a 5-pound weight is relatively 5 pounds everywhere on Earth.
Look at Fight the Flat Earth. How could you be more? Look at him. Look how fidgety this guy is. Look at what he's doing. This is during debate. Right here, he's pouring a shot. I think there's water in it. He's just playing.
Has never been proven. Centrifugal force would debunk.
Look at how ridiculous this is.
Look at that. He's probably doing shots of vodka. He probably is.
At the poles than they do at the equator, but a 5-pound weight is relatively 5 pounds everywhere on Earth. All we get from NASA is CGI globes, CGI satellites, and CGI pictures of the circumnavigation's done east to west or west to east. Works perfectly fine on a flat Earth. Cold moonlight. It's cold but putrefied.
Can you bring the volume down on this a little bit so that we can hear each other better? Yeah, thanks.
Silver, and it's damp. Sunlight is yellow, hot, and preserving. It's how we make beef jerky. It's a complete opposite energy. That's where we get the yin and yang from. The yin and yang symbol is actually a flat Earth map. Constellations never change.
That's wrong. The yin yang is a representation of the sky revolving around the flat Earth. Perpendicular to the plane of the Earth.
It's rise and set.
Well, the yin yang. So the part below the Earth would be night. The part above the Earth would be day. Mm-hmm. It's not all up in the sky circling. It's circling like a wall in front of you.
Yeah, that's the Eric Dubay thing. He's the guy that introduced the yin and yang rotating.
But he didn't even give you the truth of how the Chinese were using it. They were using it as a circle in the sky. And the bottom part was night and the top part was day, right?
Yeah, it's just hard to describe through words. Let's see. Let's just say Eric Dubay made the yin and yang like a record player, rotating around flat above us in the sky. And what Ronnie is saying is you take that record and tip it up vertically, and then you use that sun and moon. When the sun is above the horizon, you've got day. Then when it goes down below, you've got night. The moon comes up, and that's the rotation that it originally referred to.
That's correct.
Constellations, if there was parallax, makes absolutely no sense if we're blasting 20 million miles a day through space. Coriolis doesn't happen according to the sniper manual. Crepuscular rays prove the sun is small and localized. In order to have a daytime full moon, it would have to be self-illuminating because the sun on the globe model is 90 million miles behind the moon. So if anyone thinks that a sun, which is 90 million miles behind the moon, is illuminating the face of the moon, we got to talk. And then the equinoxes were off by almost 6 days. 6 days this year. Emergency airplane landings make way more sense on a flat Earth. The horizon's always eye level. Famous explorer expeditions like
no, that's not true either. The horizon does drop due to your altitude, only because you're seeing further out. Right? It's another one of those things that that is just the way that it happens in our circle of sight.
But it's a super slight drop. It's
not much.
It's not much at all. With like the drone that I have, you can get it up to 1,639 feet, and the horizon's down just a little bit. I can't say that it stays perfectly eye level, but nothing like what the globe would require is seen.
That's correct. But to say that it never drops, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things where we could like just gloss over it and be like, oh yeah, that's true. But we've actually looked into it, and it's technically not true because there is a little bit of drop.
Not much though. If you tweak your camera on your drone and adjust its angle, then you can make it drastically change. You can fake it, right? But
Oh, yeah.
we're not going to get into that.
Who was the first person in the stratosphere, said it was flat. That was published in Popular Science in 1931. Check out Captain Cook's journey around Antarctica. It took 3 years, over 60.
I don't believe Captain Cook's journey. Okay, I don't trust any pirate or Mason or any of those shills. CC Captain Cook, right?
Yeah, the CC. How long have we been hearing about that? I think Russian Vids is the guy that made me aware of the CC.
Yeah, we know he's reading it. He prepared a script.
1,000 miles. Antarctica and the North Pole have completely different vegetation and animal life. Just research fauna and flora. All the worlds are connected through fiber optic submarine communication cables, so there's no need for
Look at the
satellites.
look on Godless Engineer.
I'm sorry for interrupting, man, but
He's interrupting here.
Oh, okay. Okay, he was just waiting to get his interruption in.
So there's no need for satellites.
okay, Nathan, I'm sorry for interrupting, man, but you're kind of gish galloping, and FTFE hasn't
What?
Gish galloping.
They don't have any set standards to the times.
had a chance to respond to anything that you've said, and you've made a lot of points here. So could maybe FTFE address some of the things that you've said so far?
Well, he can address anything he wants, but what I'd really like is proof of Earth's curvature, visible, observable, and repeatable, or Earth's movement, visible, repeatable, and observable. Or I'd like proof of gravitational. Or I'd like proof of gravitational orbit. So if it's so easy, then we'll sit back and we'll let the audience.
Yeah, that's all quite easy. Yeah. All right. Well, let me say why I'm here to start with. First of all, I'm not here to have a debate, Nathan, because a debate with you isn't possible.
He's not here to debate him.
What does this say?
He's just here to have a discussion. That's what they did to us when we.
Oh, it's so stupid.
It went from being billed like the debate of
Model Geddon.
The biggest flat Earth debate that's ever happened on Earth. To Red's Rhetoric is going to listen to us talk about our model.
Yeah, Wake Souls presents his map and model to Red's Rhetoric. That was the title. I was like, what is this? And it was supposed to be a banging. It was supposed to be a Friday night extravaganza, and they switched it to Wednesday.
Yep.
Possible because you don't understand anything. So you're
right
not
off the bat, you're an idiot. Ad hominem.
going to get anything from a debate. I'm here to literally show everyone how stupid you are. That's pretty much all this is about. You are one of the main reasons that I started my channel, because your group is nothing but an echo chamber that you and your mods instantly ban
That is true.
people from the second that they try to question or engage in any kind of conversation. So, yeah, the first thing I want to say is, let's not say anything about God, because nowhere in the Bible does it say the earth is flat. So let's just leave that out of it
Well,
completely.
it doesn't say literally that the earth is flat, but it does lead. It speaks of the earth being like a field, right? A field isn't a ball.
Well, you don't even need to speak about the shape of it, because all you need to know is the Earth is fixed and immovable. And as long as Earth is not rotating, that means that we're not on a globe going around the sun, right? We're fixed. It's the sun, the moon, and the stars that rotate above us. And that eliminates the possibility of us being on the globe. So,
Yeah, totally. I couldn't agree with you more. He's wrong here.
But every single point that you brought up, you realize has been completely debunked everywhere. Is there anything new that you have, apart from these proofs that you've learned whilst bouncing a golf ball and a sledgehammer for some reason? Like, is there
why does he got to attack his brain games? There's nothing wrong with that.
any actual hard evidence that you can give me for a flat Earth? Just give me one thing that we can talk about right now that you see as your hard evidence for the Earth being flat, so that I can tell you how fucking stupid you are.
Oh, Jason, this guy. And oh, by the way, this guy is reading every single word he says too. And he's got an earpiece in, right? Multi Tom exposed him because he read something and then said thank you to the person that sent him. We'll get to that.
What a clown. The only thing this guy has is ad hominem. Like his show of like twirling his pen and just that goofy, weird ego. Like he's just reeks of it. He's just going to tell Nathan how stupid he is, no matter what he says, right?
Proof the Earth was
Yeah,
flat
give me
and a half.
one. Yeah, Nathan, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Give me one.
Listen to the way that he's talking to him. He's like, right there, I would probably leave the debate. I don't need anyone talking to me like that. Do you?
Well, it's not a debate if all the guy does is, shout you down and use ad hominems. It's not rational discussion.
Yeah.
It's best just to handle them one at a time instead of like throwing them all out there. So if we could
I'll
just
ask
like
you this
focus
question
on one
again,
at a
and I
time,
would like a
that'd be great.
direct answer, okay? Listen to the words coming out of my mouth and focus. What is your one biggest proof that the Earth is flat? One. Go.
Well, they teach in schools that the Earth's surface is covered in over 70% water, and large bodies of water have no curvature or convexity. They actually make mirrors and glass on large bodies of liquid molten metal because all liquids, when undisturbed, are flawlessly flat. You could look at a specular reflection. You could take a laser out to a large body of water. You could do a sight distance test with an infrared camera, which would be best, or high zoom binoculars or high zoom camera. Also, the frozen lakes don't have any humps in the middle of them. When they freeze over, they're frozen flat. The geographic range table from the U.S. Coast Guard lists.
Okay, what's your one? What is your one proof here? What is your one point?
So I have to agree. Some of what Nathan said was hogwash, but
a
lot of it was
bad.
It was a correct, true flat Earth proof. Yes, the convexity of water. No, the non-convexity.
Non-convexity.
I think he. Anyways, that part was good. This guy's triggered now.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with it. He actually nailed his response there. Super good.
Look at Godless Engineer.
He's like, ooh, that was a blow. Look at the fight the flat Earth.
Load of stuff. What the water is flat? Well, I spent a decade in the Navy, and I can tell you for a fact that water isn't flat.
Oh man, I spent a decade in the Navy, and I can tell you that water is not flat.
Oh. Is that appeal to authority while giving away that you work for the government?
Oh man, an appeal to authority fallacy. He's beyond that. He didn't even give any proof, man. That's like me saying, I live in Canada and I play basketball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so retarded, man.
There's a horizon for a reason. Nathan, there's a horizon for a reason because you can't see things over the horizon. Right? So
You mean beyond your vanishing point, you dork.
He says there's a horizon for a reason.
Because you have what's called a vanishing point where the sky meets the ground in the center of your vision.
Yes.
You can only see so far to it. We have what's called a distance to the horizon calculator. Fight the flat earth. Why don't you learn how to use it? It's not distance to the curve.
It defines angular resolution.
Right? It doesn't say distance to the curve. It says distance to the horizon, which means horizontal. This guy's so dumb.
why is there horizon on a flat Earth in the first place?
So on a flat Earth, you think,
Why does the flat Earth have a horizon?
You couldn't be a defined horizon at a calculatable distance, that's for sure.
It would just be blown out to infinity.
You could never calculate it on a flat plane.
I never heard it. That's so stupid.
You could see the Empire State's Building from England.
so what, it would just be like a blurry area?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, what do you think our eyes just stop seeing us?
Give him his answer and he took it. He's like, exactly. You got it exactly. Exactly.
Certain distance. Why is there a horizon on a flat Earth that is calculatable and that increases based on your height?
That's correct.
We can't see forever. It's called perspective. So you're not super.
No, sorry, what do you mean we can't see forever? We can see whatever light is coming towards us.
See, he's like, oh yeah, space. Those stars are trillions of miles away. We can see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly what the actual formula for angular perspective is. So yes, I very much have heard of perspective.
Okay, great.
Not
So let's
whatever
talk
you're
about
going to say what perspective is. I don't understand why you think there would be a defined horizon on a flat Earth in the first place. If that's your biggest proof of a flat Earth, that water looks flat, then that's fucking ridiculous, because water
I didn't say
most definitely doesn't
water
look flat. The fact,
Not only does it look flat, it's measurably flat, you dork. Are you retarded, this guy?
He is. He needs to research tilt meters and how a bubble in water can be actually accurate to 15 billionths of a degree. So yeah, it can be super accurate, buddy.
fact about fluids is that they will conform to forces acting upon them. So whatever you're saying about water being flat is just ridiculous in the first place.
But when undisturbed, large bodies of water are flawlessly flat. I didn't say they look flat.
No, they're not, though.
You can test them with a laser. You have
Every actual laser test that's been done properly with actually calibrated equipment has shown a curve.
That's just a lie.
I tested the Salton Sea after the National Geographic
Absolutely.
experiment, and it was flat. So I'm curious. If you're just
And what type of laser did they use?
Hold on, guys.
What's with Kyle wearing one glove?
Is he supposed to be OJ or something?
Is it like there was that cartoon show Inspector Gadget? I think he's trying to be the bad guy with the one glove and the cat. You know that show?
I don't remember it well.
It was bad. Well, that's why.
Get something clear real quick. You can't talk over each other. All right, you cannot talk over each other.
My argument is not that it looks flat; it's that it's measurably flat. We have the geographic range.
That's
table from
right.
the U.S. Coast Guard.
Measurably
we can
flat.
see things that would be impossible on a globe. I've been to New Buffalo and
That's
done
how
the
we
Chicago-
measure flat. We use water.
That's why we wanted to do a 3-mile long water hose to
It's
just
more-
show people.
It's more accurate than a laser over distance. Yes, water in a hose.
It's how you can calibrate a laser.
Correct.
But I flew in a helicopter from Kenosha to Chicago, and from 52 miles away, we could see the entire skyline. According to your math, according to the globe, which has numbers, and numbers can't lie and are verifiable, all we want you to do, fight the flat Earth, is show us proof of curvature. So the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Here we go. Excellently put.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've done this every time I've come on, but all you have to do is go and look at any of the observations that people have done, like Miles Davis.
Miles Davis. You know what he did? He went out and he tilted his camera down.
Like Miles Davis, is he going to go to Soundly next? Come on.
You can go and do the observations yourself that quite clearly show things being below where they should. Let me ask you a question. If you have a line of sight and something is 210 meters above sea level, but then you can see behind that something that's 500 meters above sea level is below that, then that is quite clearly observable curvature.
No, it's not. That's so.
And you can go and do those observations yourself.
Dude, you could stand under a streetlight, which is 20 feet tall, and see a mountain under the streetlight that's miles away. That doesn't mean the mountain is going behind curvature or any of that. That just is perspective. The things get smaller.
No, not when you're looking at directly along the line of sight.
Hold.
Yeah, he's arguing that you could look at a mountain in the distance, and then there'll be another mountain behind it that's bigger, but it'll look smaller.
Right.
And he's saying that proves that you're on a curved Earth.
No. That's how perspective works.
He just
Interrupt people.
Look.
I don't want to have to go to muting people, but when you both jump in, like nobody in the audience can understand.
Yeah, so saying that something really far away is below something that's really near to you is not proof of curvature. That's just proof you don't understand perspective. So right now, for example, I'm standing next to an AT&T building that's 20 feet tall, but a few miles away is the Texas A&M Stadium, and it looks like it's lower than the building I'm next to. That's not proof that a couple miles away is hundreds of feet of curvature, and the Texas A&M Stadium is dipping below the globe Earth curvature. That's just proof you don't understand perspective. That's it.
Okay, right. First off,
how easy is this debate, though? Really, for Nathan.
Oh, he's got a smile on his face.
And super shout out to Yahawah's daughter.
Point which Miles Davis had, that takes away what you're saying. When you have a reference point that is the same height as your point, that will quite clearly remove any of whatever you're saying perspective is. You keep saying that you understand perspective. So Nathan, answer me this question. What is the formula for perspective?
Here we go.
What is the actual formula for angular perspective?
Hey, so we're talking about Earth's curvature and seeing things.
No, I'm asking you a direct question. Please, I've asked you a direct question. You keep saying that I don't understand perspective, so I want to make sure that you understand it as well. So can you tell me what the formula for angular perspective is?
The mathematical formula? No, I can't give it to you right now, but I can tell you the farther things are, the smaller they get.
Right, so what you're saying is you don't know what perspective is.
No, I do.
No.
with respect, Nathan, you don't know what perspective is, because I can use the formula and use that formula to calculate exactly how big things should look based on how far away they are. So
Well,
there is actually a mathematical formula for perspective that you can use to back up things that I'm saying. And when you have a reference point, like if,
See, I'm reading it all,
Yeah.
reading every single bit of this.
for instance, in Miles Davis's video, that quite clearly allows you to use the angular perspective formula to see how far away things are.
He just tapped the earphone too.
Okay, so your argument
did.
for curvature, Miles Davis proved it, and I can go do the experiment myself. That's your argument.
Not just
that
Miles
we're
Davis,
going
there's so many other
Oh yeah,
observations.
keep that in mind. Nathan Thompson said, "Prove to me I live on a globe." Go. And
Yeah.
he said Miles Davis.
That's what he did.
Photograph from the surface of the earth with the camera tilted down. Right? He did something to the angle of the camera.
That was his evidence.
That's it.
Was it?
Like that. So my point here is that you say there's no observable curvature. Well, yes, there is, because there it is.
It's
So
not-
don't tell me there's no observable curvature when there's quite clearly observable curvature.
He did the
It's
666.
measurable curvature, and on that, Kyle, I don't know if I'm going to need 60 seconds of this guy not saying anything, but the most common form of light refraction is downward. The moisture in the air causes
correct.
the downward refraction of light. This, in turn, causes the apparent height, what is seen of an object, to
This
appear.
guy's driving me nuts, man.
Yeah, making the noise, flipping around. That was so staged and ridiculous.
Than the actual height. That means if the Earth were a globe, the object would be even less likely to be visible over the curve due to refraction, not more likely. A further
That's right. So the way that the globe Earth says that there's refraction, they just flip what actually can be measurable. Some days you can go out and you'll be trying to locate a, let's say the CN Tower, or you're trying to locate a lighthouse on a shoreline. And some days the lighthouse is going to appear lower, right? Sometimes on a rare, weird occasion over the water, you might see the whole entire lighthouse upside down. That's a rare Fata Morgana, but most of the time you'll see it lower, right? It's an illusion, right? When everything's clear, you see it perfectly clear in your view.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll keep going.
consequence of the lensing effect of the atmosphere is that it magnifies distant objects and causes the bottoms of those distant objects to appear cut off from view. Many misinterpret
That's all
the missing
disinformation. He just needs to know that you can only see so far, and after that distance, everything at that line starts to disappear from the bottom up. That's it. It has nothing to do with refraction, light, looming, this, that, none of it.
Biorefringence, Faraday effect, the EM universe, they've got every sort of disinfo attached to what it is that we actually see.
Well said.
bottoms of the buildings and ships to be caused by Earth's curvature, not realizing it's due to a lensing effect in the atmosphere. The proof that the missing bottoms are due to an atmospheric lensing effect is in fact that often the objects observed should not even be able to be seen.
So that is sort of true, though, right? There are distances where we can see things that are way too visible that we should be seeing if we lived on a ball. I think we'd be able to see the curve like drastically up in the air or on a mountain. I think it would be curving down away from us everywhere.
Well, I modeled it up to scale. in SketchUp. And yeah, you can definitely see the curve. That's
Huge drop.
yes, you can see it.
It's not a big ball, people. 25,000 miles is not that big, right? It's what they've fooled you.
Yeah, well, what is it? It's under 4,000 for a diameter, right?
Yeah,
3959
that's correct.
for a diameter. Super tiny.
Yeah, that's not big at all.
At all. If the Earth were a globe, as it should be completely below the horizon. So that's what's going on with the atmosphere, is it's giving the illusion of curvature, but things
Okay, if
that
I
we
can respond to that.
That's not true at all. Nobody has ever seen an illusion of curvature. Ever. You got that?
First off, what are you reading that from?
This is from The Greatest Lie on Earth by Edward
Oh, right.
Hare.
Okay, so nothing important.
Oh,
Nothing Nothing important. Do you know who Edward Hendry is, Jason?
He's a CIA guy, right?
FBI.
FBI.
Special Agent Edward Hendry.
Yes.
Like.
And then, right, never mind. Right, let's I thought that you would bring up the refraction thing, and I thought I'd explain to you how refraction works, because refraction makes light bend downwards, which makes you be able to see further over the curve. Now, I drew this as a child's drawing that I hope you can understand.
Look at the semantics he's resorting to here.
This is what he had to flip through his book for, with all that crazy shuffling. This was pre-planned.
Oh yeah.
This is all staged.
Yep.
Over the curve, so it's here. Right, the light for it will be coming up here. But if it bends the light down, I'm talking. Can you shush when I'm talking?
I can't see you. I'm trying to see whatever you're pointing at or talk. Kyle, can you get him on the screen for me, son?
What he's trying to say is that when you look around the curve, these buildings are actually being lifted up,
Right.
thousands of feet.
Right. That's what he's saying.
But it looks completely flat, though.
Right. But it's a trick because
making butt bigger so that you can see what he's drawing.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to interrupt. Just want to see what you're pointing at.
Right, okay, right. So, light would normally go straight up, okay? But when the light bends down, it allows you to see what is further over the curve. It makes it appear higher than it should.
That's so retarded. Is there any proof of this? Has anyone ever seen a curve or picture of a curve ever?
his proof is what he drew right there. That is it.
That's it. That's his evidence. Stick man. And it says Earth.
It's got the arrow there.
Wow.
That's how refraction works, Nathan. Not whatever you think it is. It's a very, very, very simple concept that I don't know why I have to keep explaining to flat earthers over and over. My drawing skills are not fantastic, but frankly, crayons and stuff is probably best to explain things to you in the first place. So does that drawing explain to you how refraction actually works?
Okay, what it explains to me is that you think refraction is bringing things above the curvature of the Earth. And what my argument is it's actually, and you admit refraction brings things down. So let's get more into refraction real quick. As light enters Earth's atmosphere, the longer wavelengths travel through the atmosphere and the shorter wavelengths get stuck in the atmosphere. Now, my question to you, Fight the Flat Earth, is what has a longer wavelength, a red light or a green light?
Well, red wavelength light has a wavelength of about 500 nanometers. Green is significantly shorter, isn't it?
Significantly shorter. Okay, good. You knew that. Excellent. So, have you ever heard of the green flash effect, Fight the Flat Earth?
Yes.
Okay, and so on a globe, if the sun was going behind Earth's curvature, the rays from the sun would be intersecting the atmosphere.
Throwing up the horns. And this is it's pretty much nonsense what he's saying here. He's trying to pretend that the sun is 3,000 miles above you.
He's trying to psyop the whole green flash that you see when you're zoomed in with a P900 or P1000 during a sunrise and sunset. He's just trying to just muck that all up right now.
Oh yeah.
What would get slowed down first? The purple, blue, and the green, or the red, the orange, and the yellow? Fight the Flat Earth.
So
what has an easy time getting through the atmosphere?
So you're saying which of the colors will get bent down first?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Well, think about why. Well, think about why we get a blood moon like we had recently. Why does that happen? That answers your question.
Nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Okay, if the Earth were a globe,
a blood moon.
What colors would get bent down first if the?
That's probably what Sly told him. Sly Sparkane or Soundly. Ask him about a blood moon. Blood moon.
Sun were going behind the curvature.
Well, the ones with the short wavelength.
Excuse me.
The ones with the short wavelengths. Now, what has a longer wavelength? The red or the green light?
The green has it. Oh, sorry, the red has it at 500 nanometers one.
Longer. So the red would get through, and the green would get stuck first. Now, the green flash, does it happen on top of the sun, or does it happen below the sun? Fight the Flat Earth.
Well, they happen.
It's at the top of the sun.
They happen because the green flashes occur because the Earth's atmosphere causes the light to reflect the sun to separate out into the different colors, right?
Exactly.
No.
What my argument is the shorter wavelengths on a globe would get stuck behind with a thicker atmosphere and the sun behind the curvature. But what's really happening is the sun is above the horizon. And so the red, the yellow, and the orange get through, and you get the colors for the sun on the bottom of the green flash, which takes place on the top of the sun. And because the purple and the blue and the green are being slowed down by the particles in the atmosphere first. So unequivocally and irrefutably, the green flash effect proves the sun is above the horizon.
I disagree.
If you understand wavelengths, and it sounds like you do. So I'd love to hear your argument about how the green is appearing above the sun if all those colors would be being slowed down first on a globe model.
It's a camera effect, really. It's like a type of lens flare that happens. Because
Well,
you can't observe it with your naked eye. Sorry.
well, the whole thing, nobody in the audience is following this argument whatsoever. This is just a moment for these two guys to babble.
Layering of the atmosphere and a mirage, which serves to magnify the green from a fraction of a second.
Okay, if your brain is just Googling things and having Google tell you the answers.
Well, I wanted to give you the actual explanation, Nathan. Nathan, you've just asked me how these things work. Same place that you get things. The fact is you don't...
Okay, one more.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
As I explained to you, refraction in the atmosphere will normally cause things that the atmosphere to get the light to bend down, which, as my diagram quite clearly shows, will make you see things further than you should be able to. It brings things above the horizon for you because the light is bending down
My
to you.
diagram.
Now, there is going to be different wavelengths separating out in different ways, which is why you get the fantastic. Now, you can tell that this is the fact because the sun doesn't change in its angular size throughout the day. And not only that, but other observations about the sun, simple observations, like when you're at the equator and you're getting towards sunset, the last few minutes of sunset are like boom, and the sun's gone. But when you're closer to the poles, it's much more gradual and fading out. And that is explained by...
This guy, is he retarded?
Yes.
the geometry of us being on a sphere.
No, it doesn't work at all on your sphere. First off, when you guys try to measure the sun on your sphere, you have to cut the earth in half and create a flat plane. You guys don't measure it off of any globes at all. So don't be bringing the sun into the conversation because its path, the way that it rises and sets in the north and in the south, it doesn't work on your model either. No, it's wrong.
Yeah, and there's no terminator line on
No
the globe.
terminator line.
They have to use all their atmosphere to blur that all out. And yeah, he's digging a hole is what he's doing.
So the fact that the sun doesn't change in angular size and that you can observe different types of sunsets from where you are based on your latitude on the Earth disprove what you're saying about the sun being small and local.
The sun is small and local. And the amazing thing is that people have different color skies, different color suns, different color moons. Everybody has their own perspective, their own sun, their own modeled reality inside their vision. Every single perspective. Some people have clouds in front of and behind the sun. Some people have a clear sky. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned crepuscular rays. Now, I've actually got some photographs that I want to get better ones of as we were driving past some crepuscular rays. In Scotland, the area that I live, it's near the Firth of Forth, and there's mountains on both sides. So we get some fantastic cloud breaks there, and there's always crepuscular rays. So it's easy to drive past them. And as you drive past the crepuscular rays, you can see that they go from being spread out to straight and then spread out.
It's absolute lie.
Again, as you go past, because they're not small and local, light rays are coming in from a faraway source. And based on where you're looking at them, actually how perspective works, the fact that the crepuscular rays change based on where you are show that the sun isn't small and local and traceable back to the one point from where you're looking at the crepuscular rays.
So basically the way that we can determine that it's small and local is the reason why it's far away. Oh, the snake oil salesman.
Yeah, this is where they just linguistically, they tell the truth while lying and lie while telling the truth, and just really they are out to mess up people so that they are so rabbit holed.
There's my answer to your thing about the sun.
Let's let him answer that. Nathan?
Okay, so according to the globe model, which I really need to see proof of gravitational orbits before we assume everything's flying around each other in perpetual motion. But summer solstice, we're 3 million miles farther from the sun, and winter solstice, we're 3 million miles closer. And that's allegedly because of a 66.6 or 23.4 degree tilt of the Earth, whatever you want to call it. But you believe that we're 3 million miles closer to the sun during the winter time, and the Earth's tilt compensates for how much closer we are 3 million miles? Is that what you believe, Fight the Flat Earth?
Well, first off, you completely avoided my question, but that's fine. I absolutely expected that, and that's fantastic. But anyway, the seasons are nothing to do with the distance of the sun. I'll probably have to draw you another little kid's diagram because that's the best way to talk to you.
You just say the seasons have nothing to do with the distance.
Yeah, the seasons have nothing to do with the distance from the sun, Nathan, and I'm going to explain to you why.
Yeah. The macro path of the sun does affect our seasons. Yes, exactly the reason. When the sun is further away, you go into winter. Yes. That's a child. A child could understand that.
Okay. Right.
So while you're drawing that, I just want to mention that daytime temperatures throughout the day vary drastically because the sun is small and localized.
Yeah,
Not only
that's
can you
true.
look at the sun at sunrise and sunset and not at high noon, but at high noon, daytime temperatures are at its highest, and it's drastically hotter than sunrise and sunset, especially at areas around the equator. So that's just another proof that sun's small and localized. But over here, fight the flat earthers.
No, well, that's complete nonsense, right?
He's saying,
Whoa.
he's saying that. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
He's saying that Nathan's saying that the sun temperatures. So when the sun's out, it's cool. And then when the sun comes up, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and then it gets cooler and cooler and cooler. Directly, in fact, pointing to the fact that the sun heats the earth. And he goes, "Nope." What did he say?
Localized, but over here, fight the flat earthers.
No, well, that's complete nonsense, right?
Right into the full screen slam.
No, just a second.
So,
To Nathan's point on how localized it is, people, you just got to pay attention where you go out on a summer day, and if you have some poofy clouds coming through, you look up. When that cloud, which doesn't go all the way out to the horizon around you, it's localized. It goes over you. As soon as it passes between you and the sun, you can feel the difference in the heat immediately. That means that the sun is literally above you, and it's that close that cloud is making a difference. Now in the AE map and model, they have it like 3,000 miles up. Right? That one little cloud there is not going to the affected temperature, the way it does. And you can see from the crepuscular rays just how close it is. This is in our field of view, the distance that we can see to the horizon, generally 3 to 10 miles. And that is where all of this is happening. And you can tell just by a simple cloud passing between you and the sun. It's right there above you.
And now what he's going to get into here is he's got the globe Earth, and he's saying that it's on an angle like this. But the problem with this model is, if this was the true reality, every 6 months, we would have to change the clocks back to 12 hours. And we would have a completely different night sky every 6 months.
We would.
Completely different. We'd be looking this way here.
Yep.
We'd spin around. 6 months later, we'd be looking this way at nighttime.
But then they use the sidereal day as an excuse against that. But still,
nonsense.
It's nonsense. At some point, you're going to have to be facing away.
Yeah, you would be. There's no way around it.
Yeah, you're going to be on the opposite side, and that's not what happens.
Nope.
Also, because they have the Earth at a tilt, the sun would not rise at 90 degrees east, at 270 degrees west, everywhere on Earth on the equinoxes.
Nope. That's another
not.
globe debunker. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. All correct. And the reason that they say that the stars say the same, they then invented that they were like trillions of light years away. And it's like a number that you can't even compute.
Right.
So stupid. Oh, that's why they don't change, because they're like infinitely far away. So we only move at 1 grain of sand's distance, and they're hundreds of millions of miles away, right? Like it's
imagine, right, this is the sun in the middle, and this is the Earth at different 6 months apart in its orbit, okay? So at one point, you're going to have summer up here, because as the Earth is tilting towards the sun rays have less area to cover. But over here, the same point, we'll have winter, because as the sun rays come in, they've actually got a larger area of the Earth to cover, which is why you get the difference in winter and the summer, because it's the amount
I think if we lived on this spinning ball Earth, we would literally feel it. I think we would feel the orbit. We would understand how the sky worked. with the directions of the way the winds would blow. We would have it all figured out. We would have 24-hour footage from space of the Earth spinning. All that would be done, right? We don't have any of these things.
Well, the absolute funniest thing is that the proof that he's offering for the heliocentric model are these drawings that he's done.
Stick drawings.
Energy per square mile that the sun is able to put over that amount of land. So it's not actually to do with the distance away from the sun that you are. It's more to do with the tilt of the sun, because obviously the tilt maintains its distance, its orientation to the sun as it goes around. So it's much more to do with how much of the sunlight has to spread over an area of the Earth than actually how far away the Earth is from the sun, because that 3 million miles isn't actually much when you take into account the actual distance. So again, just to clarify,
Nonsense.
the distance from the sun isn't the reasons why we have the seasons. It's much more to do with how much energy the sun...
What a nut job. Oh, the seasons are dictated by the temperature and the sun's position. What is he saying?
Oh, he's distance. Distance to the sun is the factor that takes the heat away. That's what he's saying, though.
Sun can put over a particular area of the planet at the time. Okay, does that make sense?
That's okay. That makes sense, but it's all based on the assumption that the sun has a gravitational pull on the Earth, and the Earth is gravitationally locked, orbiting around the sun. Now, other than
well, it's not an assumption, but carry on.
And pointing at the sky and pretending that's how everything works is with gravity. How do you prove a gravitational orbit on Earth?
Well, you're talking about scaling down something, right? So you want me to be able to scale down, say, the solar system and show you that working in the laboratory. Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking you to show me proof of gravitational orbits.
Well, the proof of gravitational orbits is quite easily observed when you look at the universe around you. What you're asking me is, does mass attract mass, right?
No, because mass attracting mass would make all things stick together. And the same theory that makes mass attract mass is the theory that everything orbits around each other in perpetual motion, sideways or horizontally, however you want to look at it. But it's, in my opinion, a vain religious superstition to think that gravity causes things to stick to the surface of Earth, but also causes all the planets in heaven to rotate around each other, not just in perfect synchronous orbits, but year after year, and we can use them as a clock and a map. So they've been navigating with a stationary Polaris for over 1,000 years, according to the sextant that they use.
Well, let's not go with the sextant argument, Nathan. Let's not.
They've been navigating it for all of time, not 1,000 years.
Do that because I'm a sailor, dude. Right?
I'm a sailor.
Sextants were designed to work on a globe.
No, they.
No. That's a big no.
Sextants. Oh, yeah.
He's a sailor.
You can determine the height of the sun at midday from your position on a flat map. Would tell you the distance that you were from the center of the map on a flat map. They didn't have any ball earth. They didn't hold a protractor up to a sphere to plot their courses. They rolled out a flat map. And it's just, if he was a sailor, he would know that. I don't think this guy's a sailor.
No. I mean,
he was in the Navy, I guess.
Yeah, you know how I feel about the military. It's a big hoax, and it's government controlled, and these are where the psyops are run from. Being military is not a good thing.
Okay, right. Right, let's just do the sextant for 1 second, right? Let's just do the sextant for 1 second because it's such a stupid argument, right? When you're, sorry, again with the stupid drawings, right? A sextant works based on your position on the globe. And if you're looking at Polaris, which is up here, based on your latitude, Polaris will be in a certain position.
This diagram totally blows away the sphere Earth. It really does. Because from every position on the ball Earth, if it was spinning from west to east, every position would have its own equator, and then the stars would then circle out down from that position into the sky. Everywhere you went on the ball Earth, you'd have a tunnel around you of stars spinning. It would just, and the ball Earth has a stationary spot in the sky in the south and the north that just doesn't move. But he's telling you that proves that you live on a spinning ball Earth moving.
It's just a 180 flip lie. He's showing you how it's impossible while telling you that it works.
Mm-hmm. Just completely flipping it. This is stationary, therefore you live on a ball spinning.
And that's how you would calculate your position on the globe. Now, as you go past the southern hemisphere, or past the equator and southern hemisphere, you have to use different things to actually calculate what you're looking at. But the fact that
yeah, you got to look at the southern pole star, its section in the sky, to locate where you are now.
Well,
Yes.
of course, there's not actually a pole star there.
No, it's an empty space.
Empty space, but we do have a point that the stars perfectly rotate around in the Sigma Octantis region, right?
Yep, that's correct.
when you're at different positions on your latitude around the globe, the degree that the sextant is looking at towards Polaris changes comports with what we are on the globe. If you're on a flat Earth, this whole thing would be squished out, and the calculated distances from the sextant would be exponentially worse as you got further out.
No,
the sextant
only
just
on a wrong map. Only on the wrong map projection.
doesn't work on a flat Earth. It only works on a globe.
No,
A sextant assumes a
it
stationary
doesn't
north.
work on a globe. Right? You know how hard it is to do that type of mathematics, and how hard it would be for planes to fly on a flying spinning ball of Earth with all the different airports, different directions, northeast, south, and west. You'd have to have such an amazing pilot to be able to factor in all of those measurements.
Because the sextant always measures to a perfect 90 degrees.
To a flat plane, not to a
Yes.
sphere.
Yeah, it's not calculating off of a curve.
Northern pole star, and it's been stationary for over 1,000 years, and you think we're moving 20 million miles a day chasing the sun progressively through space.
So it's better to say it's been stationary my whole life, because we can't really prove anything else but, you know, beyond the word of God, the word of Yahawah. Sorry.
Yes, Nathan, you have to take into account scale here. Polaris is in alignment with the axis of Earth's rotation, okay? Now, that the fact that us and Polaris are both moving throughout the galaxy at the same time is perfectly understandable. Now, Polaris won't always be the North Star. I'm not sure of the exact amount of time. I think it's like in like 24,000 years, the North Star will actually shift and it would have shifted and be something else because of our position in space and our actual tilt and the way that we're moving. But it's perfectly understandable how Polaris is always in the same position. Because of it's moving through. Like, think of it this way: all the stars that you see in the sky are a tiny portion of the Milky Way, a tiny portion, and that portion that you're seeing is moving throughout the Milky Way with us. So it's like saying that you are a microbe on the floor, and you're spinning around in a circle, right? But you're looking at something that's on the ceiling. Even though you're spinning around in a circle on the floor, because you're so small, that point on the ceiling is still going to be in the same position.
What?
This is how he defends heliocentrism.
You're a microbe on the floor and you put a dot on the ceiling and you can spin around and that dot on the ceiling won't move. That's what he just said, people.
You're
So
make
no
sense?
proof of
No.
no proof of gravitational orbits. Just
Well,
making
the
sure.
fact that mass attracts mass proves gravitational orbits.
That's it.
Dude, if mass attracts mass, everything in the sky would not be floating at perfect distances from each other year after year.
Okay, you obviously don't understand what the conservation of momentum is, do you?
Oh, please enlighten.
Right, let's look at what an orbit is, Nathan. Right, for instance, the moon orbiting Earth. All right, the moon isn't just going around Earth. What the moon is doing is falling towards Earth. But the fact
it's falling. Just constantly falling.
It'll never hit us though, right?
Nope.
Everything would have smashed into the sun if their mass attracting mass was real. Okay,
Right.
people? It's not.
That's why
real.
they have to say everything's falling.
And now they tell you that not only that, but everything's attracted to a giant nothingness, right? That we can't see. We can't observe a black hole, but we know it's there.
The ISS is just falling constantly.
Falling
Sure.
17,000 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
that it is traveling at a velocity makes it fall and miss the Earth constantly.
It just misses, Jay. It goes down past the other side and then it falls again and it just misses again. Kind of like, an octagon kind of path.
Haven't you ever heard about the conservation of energy?
The conservation of momentum, right?
Momentum.
In space
Yeah. So
to stop that momentum. Because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. There is no opposite reaction to stop the velocity of the moon as it's going around us. So it will maintain that
So
constant
now there's
velocity
no such thing as friction, right? That's not real in space.
whilst falling towards Earth.
Whilst
And the reason it falls towards Earth is because mass attracts mass. Simple. Come on.
So everything in space is attracting everything else, but the moon has a perfect orbit around Earth because it's perpetually falling in space.
The conservation of momentum, Nathan. Yes.
Okay. So
why would it stop? Why would it stop? Like, like, let's just say it is going around. Okay. Why would it stop and just come towards the Earth? What is the reason?
Gravity.
Stop that.
Yeah. Well, the Satanists always want to show you the trick where you put like in a sheet, you put a heavy ball in the middle, and then you roll the ball around the outside. Right? They say that that's gravity, so that's what the moon would do if that's gravity, right?
It would have crashed into us. Come on.
Yes.
But they say the moon is a piece of Earth that got smashed into, and it's separated.
Yeah, and the asteroid belt is some planet that got annihilated, right?
I don't know. And then they tell you that the red stars are moving faster and further away, and the blue stars are closer and moving towards you. And then you like find red ones that are closer. You're like, hey, wait a minute, this is completely backwards. What do you guys? Everything is thrown out the window. Hubble, everything about Hubble's law is wrong.
It's all science fiction, and they don't even try to make it factually plausible.
Yeah,
just like
Arthur C. Clarke and
they just
fiction.
Whatever tickles their fancy, they just make it up, even if like the physics that we're familiar with would not support it.
Well, according to your theory, mass attracts mass. So, I mean, what stops it from attracting it? It got stuck.
It's nothing. The reason it's falling towards Earth is because of the mass attracting mass. So it's still that hasn't gone away, Nathan. That is still happening.
So I'm gonna ask.
And so why is it that lakes don't have any tide effect? Are you genius, Mr. Poindexter? Right? If mass attracts mass, and you say the tides are caused by the moon, the giant bodies of water that are called lakes, they should have the same gravitational pull. Correct?
All water, every bit of water.
No, I'm sorry. Nope. Only salt water has tidal effects. Another simulation proof, right?
But we should be able to put a glass of salt water out on the land and be able to measure the moon's attraction against it, right?
Yeah, we should. You're right. We should be able to.
Ask like a third time and then I'll drop it. Do you have any proof of gravitational orbits here on Earth, or can you only point at the sky and claim that that's
I can prove that mass attracts mass, Nathan. That's all I need to do. The fact that mass attracts mass proves gravitational orbits.
So stupid. So stupid.
Yes, it does. You can say no. Sorry, you can say no.
The desk just attracted that pen.
Yes, that's the way, quote unquote, people that believe in science, or scientists. Yes, that the desk did attract it. It did.
Even though there's a density to the object and a set amount of things that make it, and you use your strength to lift that set amount of things up and let go of. That has nothing to do with it.
I was looking at some of their physics things recently. One of the funny things that I came across recently is that they totally deny fields, right? Scientists, they deny fields and they promote forces. Forces are real, and fields are like woo-woo stuff that wacky new agers talk about. Right? That's the way it's portrayed. You can't find any scientific information about fields because they say that those aren't real. They say that everything, like as far as the forces are concerned, that when you lean against the wall, that the wall is actually pushing back against you.
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff they say. And then the fields, they totally don't acknowledge. But then, like an electromagnetic field, you can see that as you get closer to a thing, the more and more effect it's going to have on it. You can test
stronger, yeah.
You can test that kind of stuff. Our Wi-Fi routers are a perfect example of fields. Like you get too far away from it and
you're out of that field.
You're out of the field. And they deny
it has a circle of its site.
Yes, they deny fields, but forces are a real thing. The only forces that I could find that were real were like the ones that you would get in a spring, tension.
Yeah.
And the compression of springs. Other than that, the physical force of picking things up, pushing things around, but they have like static things, like the walls and everything pushing back. They say it's a force. I just wanted to toss that out there. It like cracked me up.
Nope, stop interrupting each other.
Sorry,
No, Nathan.
Nathan, you can say no, it doesn't. But it does.
No, fight the flat Earth. He was in the middle. Fight the flat Earth. Interrupting, and the other side expect not to either. So.
Mass proves everything in space flies horizontally or is perpetually falling around everything else. Now that is not mass attracting mass. So
in what way is it not?
Later, because you don't have any proof of that either, but I don't prove that gravitational orbits exist with anything other than pointing at the sky, which every ancient civilization who didn't have school, who didn't have TV, and didn't have NASA to tell them where they live knew that.
Right, okay, let me respond. Nathan, let me respond before you go off on a diatribe. Right?
Hold on. Fight the flat Earth. He wasn't finished.
Schooling knew the Earth was the center of the universe and the sky was moving around us. Star trails show no progressive movement or alleged orbit around the sun. They only make perfect circles around the northern pole star. And so constellations, we wouldn't even have them if we were blasting through space and there was visible parallax. And I would love to hear what you think happened as a result of Airy's failure experiment. Go ahead.
Right, okay. First of all, you're saying, I want you to prove things happening in the sky without pointing to the sky.
I'm reading everything, eh?
Don't be fucking ridiculous. The fact that mass attracts mass. Nathan, I'm responding to you. The fact that mass attracts mass proves that gravitational orbits are a thing.
There's absolutely no proof. And not only that, but I can take a tiny magnet and attract a lot of weight to it. There's much more mass to it that the magnet pulls it to it. It's way heavier than the magnet.
His fight the flat Earth has not given any evidence other than his stick drawings from his notebook.
Look at Nathan.
Okay, all you need to know is that mass attracts mass and that there's a thing called the conservation of momentum. You do understand that there's a thing called the conservation of momentum, right? You keep spouting about the second law of thermodynamics, but what about the first law of thermodynamics and the third law of thermodynamics, right?
Jason?
Yeah.
You want to talk about the laws of that thermodynamics?
Yeah, they're not laws, they're lies. And they're there to gatekeep the free energy that we can have, but it's easy to prove these laws aren't correct. The simplest one would be like compressed gases or fluids. So when you compress it, you produce heat. And so in the laws of thermodynamics, everything's a heat engine. It's heat that does work. All work is done by heat. But when you release the compressed gas or liquid, you actually create coldness. That's how your refrigeration system works. That's how your AC works. You're releasing something that's compressed and it creates coldness. That goes in absolute stark contrast to the law of thermodynamics. Boom, done. It's not a law. They are hiding the truth.
Well said.
You cannot pick and choose science. Conservation of momentum is a thing, and you cannot deny that, right? Star trails, yes, when you're in the northern hemisphere, they all appear to rotate around Polaris. What about when you're in the southern hemisphere and you get them going around Sigma Altanis? Again, that's not possible to have two separate things on a flat Earth.
Lie. Like that's again that the go-to ball Earth to answer is, oh, you can't have that on a flat Earth. No.
In fact, all of their modeling is really done from a flat Earth. I mean, you look at something like Stellarium, it's built off of a flat plane, not a curved one.
And all the simulators that they use for flying, guess what they're built over?
A flat plane.
That's correct. Check NASA if you don't believe me.
So in response to your nonsense about I cannot look at the sky to try and explain gravitational orbits, yes, I most certainly can. I bought my daughter a telescope for Christmas, and we've been tracking a bunch of stuff in the sky. We can see what is happening that is predictable based on our calculations of knowing that mass attracts mass. Mass attracts mass, and that is a fundamental fact of nature. I want to make it clear to you that gravity is not a theory, okay? It is not a theory. There is the theory of gravitational attraction, but gravity is a mathematical law. It is a fact. It is a thing that exists. Mass attracts mass, and that alone explains gravitational orbits when you take into account things like conservation of momentum. Oh, and Polaris is moving 11.85.01 macrosecond
Look at him reading this.
Yeah.
north. So it's, you know, Polaris is moving. Someone actually put that in, so thanks for that.
Oh, look at this. Like, come on, people. This is your top ball Earth debater. Listen.
Macroseconds a year towards the north. So it's, you know, Polaris is moving. Someone actually put that in, so thanks for that.
So thanks for that. What a clown, man. I'm gonna ad hominem attack this guy.
Allegedly. Okay, so no proof on Earth of gravitational orbits, just so all the audience is
So
clear.
you just ignore what I said. That's fine.
Okay.
You want me to prove something in space on Earth? Nathan,
Well,
I can prove that mass attracts mass. That's all I need to do.
No, you can't.
Okay, well, let's see that.
Right, well, Cavendish explains that, and the Cavendish
Cavendish.
done in the vacuum chamber.
I think he needs to see the video.
Mass debate on Reg Channel. So Cavendish proves that mass attracts mass. And not just that, there is, I've personally done other experiments like
A
hanging.
guy, what was it, 500 years ago with a shed, 2 lead balls, and a telescope,
Yep. He weighed Earth, actually.
and the moon and all the stars,
Yeah, and he was a part of a secret society.
and gay. Faggot.
And gay. Yeah.
Big weights off of a digital scale that can measure up to 1,000th of a degree. And when you add a large mass to underneath what is hanging, you can see the gravitational attraction actually increase, however small it is. Mass attracts mass, and that is a demonstrable fact.
If I could kind of interject here really quick, so throwing this Nathan's way so that we could try to move, move forward a little bit. So one of the things that in the past that has been instrumental in knowing the movement of celestial bodies has been the Galileo's observations of the moons around Jupiter, and I mean they're called the Galilean moons because he observed them orbiting around Jupiter. So I'm kind of curious, how do you explain Galileo's observations at that?
So now it's 2-on-1, right?
Yep. And he's coming in with like Reds or Sean Hufford or Sly or Soundly, their best point, right? Or
Yeah, and he's
Wolfie.
reading it.
He's reading the point, and because lights in the sky seem to be close to in different sections of the sky around another light in the sky, that we live on a spinning flying ball Earth. That's literally what he's saying, people. Lights in the sky that we can look at nighttime. There's little ones that are close to this one, and sometimes they're in different positions, but they're always sort of with it. That, like, they can't actually see stuff orbiting around anything because you can't see the night sky for 24 hours straight, right?
You can't.
We only get a small slice of it in each perspective of the night, everywhere on Earth. Every person, every telescope has its own slice. So it's maybe you can stitch it together, and maybe it is doing somewhat of an orbit. But in my opinion, they just move from east to west on their path. They never veer off it. They do exactly what they were commanded to do. And they tell a story along the ecliptic.
Well,
right?
you have the fixed stars, and then you have the wandering ones.
That's right.
And so watching the movement of the wandering stars throughout the constellations, which happen every 12 months, we can see this retrograde and was it prograde?
Yeah, the star will be moving further in this fixed star orientation. They call that retrograde.
Yeah. Well, it can actually move backwards within the fixed star.
That's right. It's still moving from east to west as you're watching it, but the stars behind it have moved forward, right? And so we can observe that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what we can get out of the sky.
I think it's Jupiter, and it sets the stage when it's at opposition with another star. And there's a bunch of stuff. I think Regulus. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on, and there are pictures that tell a story. The 12 tribes of Israel. There's 12 constellations. Enoch did a great job teaching us about the sky, right? But I'll keep going here.
Yeah, it's a big celestial clock is what it is.
A story.
It is a story.
And a clock. That's right. Signs and the seasons. That's what the luminaries were given to us for.
How do you explain the effects that we see, like things dropping and stuff like that? Start with Galileo's observations of the moons around Jupiter, though.
Okay, well, I'll say again, every ancient civilization that only had the sky to look at knew the Earth was flat. So according to Galileo and Jupiter's moons going around Jupiter, that proves that all objects in the universe are attracting other objects to center mass. I'm not that gullible because it works.
Can I just respond to that one thing, Nathan, that you said?
You can respond. You can respond when
so rude.
when he's finished.
Okay, so check this out. And then you asked why things fall. Well, things rise or fall based on the relative density compared to the medium that the object is in.
Boom.
So massive.
There's the magic words.
Okay, look. Listen, I don't.
Sorry.
I don't like getting upset, but I'm really starting to get upset because I've asked 900,000 times for each other to stop interrupting each other, and I fucking mean it this time.
Nathan, you didn't actually answer the question. You didn't explain the observation of Galileo. You just kind of complained about that being proof of uniformity in the universe, I guess. Which I guess you're arguing against uniformity. But anyways, could you just explain straight up like Galileo's observations of the moons around Jupiter?
Again, God's engineer has to jump in. Totally misrepresents Nathan's completely what Nathan was saying. He went the opposite. Nathan's saying it's all unified. This guy's saying you're going against unification.
Okay.
Nothing in the sky is a moon or another material body like Earth. Everything you're seeing is a luminary in the sky. And so I've zoomed in on the moons of Jupiter from inside my house with my kitchen window open, and those are allegedly, 600 million miles away. Now, based on angular size of things, do you know how big those moons are? Because in my opinion, I don't think we should be seeing them at all, but they flicker and glow and are self-illuminating. They are.
So the point that he's making is the intensity of light from an object, depending on its distance away from you, would diminish quicker than what the globe earthers say happens.
Yeah, well, lumens, I think, is how we measure that, or candle power.
Yeah.
It's like the distance that you can see a certain amount of light at, certain amount of brightness of light at a certain distance. And, yeah, the lumens at that, because I think the inverse square law is what applies to that. So the light would not be able to be visible from Earth.
No.
Are not reflecting sunlight. So everything you're looking at is a luminary in the sky, and they rotate around Jupiter because they're set in a particular path to rotate around Jupiter. This idea that all objects are attracting all other objects in space, but we have constellations and perfect orbits in the sky that we base our clocks off of, to me, is the definition of the word insane, the inability to perceive reality.
True.
Okay, so you think that we base our clocks off of stars in the sky?
No, the sun rotates around the Earth, perfect 24 hours and 360 degrees. They made up sidereal days and leap years to compensate for the fact that every 6 months, if we're on a globe and the Earth had a perfect 24-hour rotation, the daytime would flip to the nighttime every 6 months.
That's true.
Because we would be on a different side from the sun. But a better argument that doesn't happen is that we don't see an entirely different night sky every 6 months. And we can see Mercury sometimes at night. It's closer to Earth's orbit, closer to the sun than Earth's orbit. It should never be visible at nighttime. And just based on its angular size, that it's 3,000 miles in diameter, should place it out of the perspective of our visible eyesight. So
True.
Nothing about space is real. The whole solar system is a hoax, guys. Like, I'm here to tell you, it's not real. So.
Okay, well, what about I mean, you have independent people that can take a telescope and they can see like a lot of detail, of like Mars, let's say. You can find video of that. I mean, and it's not self-illuminating or anything like that. Like, it's just a planet. So, I mean, I don't believe you whenever you spout all these things. Like, what is a luminary? Like what is a luminary to you?
That's a good question. I didn't set them in the sky, so I can't tell you exactly how it all works. But I know what we can observe and what we can test. And what we can test is Aries failure, proof that the stars are moving around the Earth. There's no measurable parallax. That's a fairy tale. The northern star is stationary. And if Fight the Flat Earth wants to believe that it just follows us through the universe, then that's great. But my claim is that Earth's stationary and that's the northern pole star. And it's been that way for thousands of years. So.
That's right. Nailed it.
Okay, I mean that's really all I had to say. Do FTFE? I know that you had a pretty big reaction to his gravity
Turn up his
statement.
game.
Do you want to cover what he said about?
There's so many things. First of all, I want to just nip the ancient cultures argument in the bud. A bunch of ancient cultures believe that, your thought process and stuff came from your heart. Ancient cultures knew fuck all. That's why they're ancient cultures and not around anymore. All right, so stop saying ancient cultures believe something, therefore it must be true.
Wait, he's believing ancient cultures when he brings up Cavendish. He believes the Earth's a ball because of Cavendish. He can prove gravity and mass attracting mass because of someone 400 years ago.
Well, I don't know if 400 years falls into ancient cultures, but
that's a long time ago, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this straw man that he's trying to build up here is just ridiculous.
Wow.
So ridiculous and makes you look just as stupid as you actually are.
Couldn't have said that any better.
With the things moving with us throughout the universe, Nathan, it's scale, dude, scale. Things are so...
That's what they say to you. You're on a giant beach ball and you're just a tiny speck of sand. It's the Carl Sagan. We're just such an insignificant pale blue dot in outer space. No, you're super special. The sun is just right there, 6 miles away. The crater is right there. The throne of the creator is right there. Everything is super local. The stars, the moon, the sun. The moon is super local. And, the fact that it changes size so drastically proves to me that it's even closer. If the sun was really 230,000 miles away, the size difference wouldn't change. Like sometimes it's a massive moon, people. Come on. And it rises from the ground and then sets into the ground. It's an amazing thing to watch in the simulation. It's so beautiful the way the creator rendered sunsets. Wow, man. Just wow.
In the moon, the fact that we can see into the craters with something as simple as a P900 or P1000, we can see into them.
Yeah, and we can't zoom in on buildings 10 miles away.
Right. It's amazing.
Far away, that they're not going to change their relative position in the sky. There's no reason why we should see a completely different night sky 6 months apart, because compared to the rest of the galaxy, we are a tiny, insignificant little speck. So there's no reason why the entire night sky would change when it is so...
What a poor... this guy here is... this is exactly what the Jews wanted to create. This is the product of their schooling, education, mind programming.
Woo. He's got to read this too. He can't even spout this off on the fly. He's reading.
Way. What else are you on about? Space being fake is so demonstrably untrue. There are so many aspects of our life that revolve around space being an actual thing. You can say that all information is done through undersea cables and stuff, but that is just not true. I don't know what you want to show me in that book, but go ahead, because you seem quite desperate to do it. What book is that, first of all?
So based on, let's talk about how far everything is away, because I was really hoping you'd bring up that argument, because I can zoom in on all the stars and see detail with my $1,000 telescope or P1000 that I bought at Best Buy. But that's not my argument. Hold on, before you get triggered. What I wanted to say was the sun takes up half of 1 degree of our sky, and it's allegedly 93 million miles away, and the light takes 8 minutes to travel from the sun to get to Earth on the globe model. Now, if you move the sun away twice that distance to 180,000 miles, it now goes from half a degree in our sky to a quarter of a degree. Now you move it away again, twice that distance. It goes from a quarter of a degree to 0.125 of a degree. And then you go again, and dude, you wouldn't even be able to see it, and you're only at a light hour. And you're telling me that all these stars are light years or millions of light years away?
Good point.
Now, even Andromeda...
Yes, Nathan.
It's a good point.
It is a good point.
Even Andromeda is only 400 times larger than the sun. But it's allegedly light years away, and you think we could see that with our naked eye?
Yes, Nathan, because light doesn't just arbitrarily stop for no reason. The light is still going to reach us. We're still going to see a speck in the sky because we are still seeing the light that has been traveling for those millions of years. Why would you not be able to see something if the light is still traveling?
But the light only comes in a pinpoint. It doesn't spread across in all directions. Like, the light would be shining in all directions. The entire sky would all be light.
Just be beaming.
Everywhere, from every star, every angle. It'd just be pure light everywhere.
It's so stupid.
Is obviously extremely bloody small because of how far away it is, but they appear as bright lights in the sky because they're in the sky and the light is reaching us. Of course we're going to be able to see the light. There's no reason the light would arbitrarily just stop and not reach our eyes.
Okay, let me try one more time. The sun, which is 800,000 miles in diameter, which if it was above our heads would take up the entire sky. You move it away 93 million miles, and it's half of 1 degree of our sky. You move it twice that distance, it's 0.25 of a degree, a quarter of a degree of our sky. You move it away again, and it's a quarter of a quarter or an eighth of a degree of our sky. You move it away again, and dude, you're not even at a light hour, and you wouldn't even be able to see the sun at a light hour. And you're telling me
again, Nate. Sorry, before you stop. But again, why would you not be able to see it? The light is still getting to you. What don't you understand about that? The light is still getting to you. If the light is getting to you and it's hitting your retinas, your brain are going to change that into a signal and show you something. No matter how far away it is, the light is still getting to you. What do you not understand about that one simple fact?
Okay, what I'm trying to say is if the sun's this big and you move it...
Oh, do not just repeat what you're saying again, Nathan. Don't do that. I've just told you the answer.
Let's try to let him talk, okay?
My argument is that eventually it gets out of distance and you wouldn't be able to see it at like a light, let's just call it a light week. You wouldn't be able to see anything other than a light.
Why wouldn't you be able to see it? Why would you not be able to see the light?
Well, explain one more time. It takes up half a degree.
You just repeating yourself is so ridiculous.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, listen. Kyle has said it a lot of times. I'm going to say it. We got to let each other finish what we're talking about. But I'm wondering, like, Nathan, could you? Maybe I missed it or something. But could you explain what to you, like a light year or a light minute, or could you explain that particular like measurement?
Yeah, well, I mean, none of us have ever measured the speed of light personally, so we're all going off like accepted, scientific values. But and I think personally that light travels at different speeds depending on the medium that it's in. But also, light follows an inverse square law. So not only does the light not like infinitely travel forever and ever, but the how bright it is would dissipate inversely.
That's correct.
So what that means is that you get twice the distance from the star, and it's only 1/4 as bright as it was.
Its field would be much less. It's correct.
Oh yeah,
another good point.
You were half the distance, so it gets exponentially harder and harder to see the farther away it is. But just based on the angular size, guys, the sun is only like the size of a little dime in the sky, and it's 93 million miles away. Now, and it takes 8 minutes for that light to reach us, according to the globe. Move it away so that the light takes 16 minutes, and you're at a quarter of a degree of our sky. Move it away so that the light takes 30 minutes to get to us, and you're at an eighth of a degree of our sky. Move it away so the light takes an hour, and you're at 0.08 of a degree of our sky, and you're at a light hour, not even a light day or a light week, and you guys think everything is light years away. And I can show you videos that I've taken of the luminaries, and they're absolutely brilliant. They're transforming, and they have different colors that they spit off. I don't know exactly what they are, but they're definitely not balls of gas light years away. That's for sure.
Right. Okay. First off, Nathan, your P1000 isn't a telescope, so stop treating it as such. Secondly,
it does have a pretty good telephoto lens.
Well, it actually has a better zoom capacity than most telescopes do.
Mm-hmm.
What a telescope has is larger aperture, so it's gathering more light. So, like with a P1000, to get a like a star, you need to take a picture so that you can do a long exposure on it. The big telescopes that have huge diameters, they're getting the light that they need, but the magnification on them is often quite a bit less than the P1000.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the super crazy expensive ones get up to, the P900's got the 2000 millimeter equivalent focal length. And there was only a handful of telescopes that had more than that. Now it goes up to 3000 millimeter. And you're in a super, super high elite class of telescopes that are going to have that kind of focal length on them. They're going to have the big aperture. You'll see things with lots and lots of light, but
you're not zooming in on them.
Generally, you're not zooming in 3000 millimeters.
No one says that the stars are balls of gas. They're nearly perfect balls of plasma with a fusion.
You notice this guy's volume is just cranked.
Super cranked.
And Nathan's is way lower.
Core. So please understand the model you're arguing against in the first place. You don't understand the simple fact that I'm saying here. Light isn't going to arbitrarily stop for no reason. Right? Light just doesn't stop traveling.
And he tries to say that this is out of focus. No, actually, that is really good focus. That is perfectly focused. That's the best that you can get with telescopes. Right there. Pretty close.
What are you trying to show us here, Nathan?
Kyle, can you full screen me?
Yep, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave will get you just.
That's pretty well
Can you guys
focused.
see that?
Nice star.
Yeah, and that's
Dave,
wonderfully out of focus camera work. Well done.
No, it's not.
Even
That's
out of-
focused. Out of
That is-
focus, it does the big disc. When it's
Yeah.
in focus, it does a twinkling dance. So that's why we have the song "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." You know, nobody knows how we wonder what it are. You know what I'm saying? That like,
Well, not all the stars twinkle, but some of them do. And
oh yeah, a lot of them do this.
So,
They do this walk to them. They have like a strut that they do through the sky of like brilliant light. This is good footage. It's too bad he couldn't screen share it.
Focus. Look how brilliant that looks. Look how detailed that looks. You're going to tell me that?
Yeah, and if you get a telescope and actually look at it with something that's supposed to be used for that, then it looks nothing like that when it's properly in focus, Nathan.
No,
You're using
no,
an incorrect
that's-
tool for something it's not supposed to be used for. Your P1000 is not a telescope. Stop using it as such. Simple.
So,
Don't point the telescope at the sky anymore, Nathan. Come on.
well, if this isn't a telescope
And that's
this
a bad symbol, but
isn't good footage, then show me your footage that's better. Fight the flat Earth. Like, you got
Any
better
of the
stuff?
footage taken with telescopes. We've got telescopes in space that are designed just to take footage of stars. I'm going to trust the equipment that's been developed for the job at hand, Nathan, not a P1000, which
appeal to authority.
is not developed to look at the stars. The
That's all he really has. This guy.
well, and he's making the assumption that space exists in order to he uses it as evidence. So I mean that what's that type of logic fallacy called? I'll think of it.
Begging the logic? No.
Oh, yeah, begging the question logic
Begging-
fallacy. Yep, because you have to assume that space exists in order for your explanation to be viable. But
Yeah, we know.
But the question is, we're already stating that space doesn't exist. There is no satellites up there taking those pictures.
It's the same thing that all science does. They ask, how do you know that's an old rock? And they say, well, this is an old rock because it has a fossil in it. And then you say, well, how do you know how old the fossil is? And they say, well, we found it in this rock. It's circular reasoning around something that they made up, like the constant of gravity or whatever. Now that we know that's fixed, all these other mathematics now work up. And then they do this all the time.
That's how they do it.
is not a telescope. Please stop using it as such. Tell you what to do is get a telescope and record what you're seeing in the telescope with your P1000 that way. Then you will actually get an image of what you're looking at. Again, that's a fantastic, nice aberration of light, whatever happening with your camera, because it's not designed to look at the stars.
So the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows His handiwork. And so,
Yeah,
like
nowhere
the
in
fact
the Bible does it say the Earth's flat.
well, in
Sorry.
second verse, Genesis 1.
Yeah, I remember this guy, I think, on the Nathan Oakley debates. Nathan just destroyed this guy. I think he cried one of the episodes. I'm almost certain it's this guy. You probably remember his voice.
Says that God moved over the face of the waters. Now, you asked me what my proof of flat Earth, and I said large bodies of water don't curve because they have a face.
That's
So,
true.
I don't
That's
know why you
Nathan
think a ball would
Roberts'
have a face, but
big
God would say
point.
He moves over the face of a ball.
But it's true.
To me, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So,
The ball doesn't have a
actually-
face, right? Only a flat plane or flat surface does. That's literally what a face is. It's the side of a flat surface is a face.
That's correct.
Leave the Bible out of this completely, Nathan, because nowhere in the Bible does it say the
Leave
Earth
the
is flat.
Bible.
The Bible is not a science book and should not be included in these conversations. All right?
so Wilfred,
I don't care what you think
triggered.
God said. I don't care what you think God said in any way, shape, or form, because that's out of a little book that is not designed to help us figure out what shape the planet is. We should leave that to the tools that have been developed to do such
What
things.
shape the planet is? Like people, if you don't hear how
Begging the question fallacy.
like this is like a child's level.
Now, if you want to tell me that space is fake, then I'm going to want an explanation of everything that's happened in space. I'm not going to talk about NASA.
This guy needs to go get in a NASA suit and go inside of a vacuum broom. I want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see it.
Anyway, all the other agencies around the
Why
world.
won't they do it,
Why are they
Jay?
Well, because they would be instantly killed.
showing the same things? Why has China just landed a lander on the dark side of the moon and why they also got a lunar orbiter that has confirmed the places that America landed. Do you think if China...
Because they're using the same computer simulation.
The Chinese simulations are never as good as the American.
Yeah, they are worse.
They're super bad.
We're going to fake space, they would disprove that America went to the moon. Right? You have to personally disprove to me every single photograph and every single video ever from space, including the ones taken like before NASA or anything was invented, including the blue marble from 1972, which was a single photograph. And
Oh,
had
I
nothing
can't even believe he went to this. This is bad.
do with CGI. You're also going to have to explain the Himari 8 and all the accurate observations that it makes, including the fact that in 2013 it spotted a wildfire on the Mongolia-China border and was able to track it and monitor it and save an entire bunch of villages because of that observation from space.
He said there's a satellite that saw a fire from space and they were able to save people, go put it out because they saw it from space. Do you know how stupid this guy is? If a large section of the earth was burning, you don't think anyone's going to see it on the ground? You need to rely on a satellite from space.
Well, they're how many miles? 250 miles or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, show us evidence of being able to see 250 miles. That's the angular resolution is wiped out.
Yeah. So true. The camera that you'd be taking the picture of, there's no way. Like, and so I think they had a glitch on Australia or something, and somebody pointed it out in the CGI, and then or there was a fire and they they overdid the fire on the spinning ball picture, right? It didn't match. But anyways, I'll keep playing.
I got you.
Space that no one else would have ever seen. So
But
you can't tell me that
then they use that as proof when they make the mistake, right?
Right.
the space is fake unless you can personally disprove everything that has ever come from all the science and stuff around space travel.
Reading
Can you do that? Because if just one of those things are true, if just one single picture or one single video is true, it just blows everything you ever say out of the...
All he's trying to do is to create one tiny sliver of doubt in your mind that anything could be anything other than a ball. That's where he's trying to see. He's going from a weird logical stance.
Well, it's this appear to populism that they have this.
Yeah, how his daughter's triggered.
If they have this one shred of evidence, then flat Earth isn't. So like he's like trying to get people. You don't want to bet your whole life on flat Earth, because just if one of these things is true, then we're on a globe.
Wow.
But none of them are. None of them are true.
None of it. It's...
Water.
So you brought up the blue marble. Do you know who was the artist for the blue marble?
No, I'm talking about the one from 1972, not the one taken in 2000.
So that was the one where the camera was filming the window, right? From the backside. That's, I'm pretty sure, Apollo.
Yeah. Strange thing happened on the way to the moon.
And he doesn't even know that.
Well, he'll probably get the message soon on his screen.
1972 blue marble was taken with a camera. It is one shot.
A Hasselblad,
Can
right?
you pull up that picture on a full screen for us, please, so we can analyze it?
Yeah. Dave, can you pull a picture of the?
Why would that
19...
be a problem, godless engineer? Like, look at the face he makes.
Look at that stink face.
The semantics is just so retarded. It makes it worse on the ball Earth. How do they not see that?
Please. I mean, if we're going to claim that's the real photo of Earth.
Just take just a second. So, Father, do you have anything you want to say why he does that?
Hats off to the moderators. You guys are awesome today, dude. Just want to let you guys know. And Kyle, you're looking
Much
dapper.
better than that's for sure.
He's talking to his moderators on his website.
Yeah.
I think GE looks. I love that beanie. Do you sell those, GE?
$25 just to get a few of these.
Right, what one?
All right, Dave.
In the morning here, so my apologies.
That's all right. I just people can't, they can't understand two people talking at one time. So just for everybody's sake, just try to be respectful of that. But it's fine. Nathan, there's your picture.
Yeah, so that is 1972 one.
So this is planet Africa, and on the other side of this blue marble, we're going to have Europe, North America, South America, Australia, and Asia. on the other side of that blue marble? Are you telling me that there's 6 continents on the other side of that picture?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, excellent. And so where are the, you think that's a real picture? That's your real picture of Earth? Fight the flat Earth? That's what you got?
Yes, Nathan. Unless you can tell me in 1972 what computer imagery could create that, I'd love to know. Because there was no CGI or computer imagery in 1972. That was taken with a Hasselblad camera, an actual physical like film, not digital or anything. It was a physical.
Yeah, they probably took a picture of a painting with a Hasselblad. Probably true, right?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
actual thing.
Okay, well,
So,
Like, what in 1972 could have made that?
Didn't Matt Boylan paint that?
No, not this one. But he's got one.
What I see, or do you want to point it out? Do you see what I see?
I don't know if you this is what I,
Kyle, he's so off the wall. Do you see what I see? No, Kyle, people aren't telepathic in your chat. Okay, they're not. Trust me.
I wasn't going to point out anything actually on the blue marble, but using the awesome information that we got from the CGI expert that we had on the show,
So
yeah, I
they're
ran
experts now on CGI, but this isn't CGI.
it through the ELA photoforensics.com analysis tool, and this particular a high-res version of this photo, it does not show any markers of manipulation or anything like that.
So how do
This-
we have a high-res photo image of something taken in 1972?
Yeah, high res.
Someone had to edit the high-res into the photo.
Take a photo of it. Take a photo of the photo.
And when you take a photo of the photo and you put it into a photo analyzer, it comes back as a original photo.
Yep.
an original photo.
You don't see
it
any
has
of
not
the
been manipulated in any kind of way. At least according to
there is
the
one
ELA.
manipulation there in the orientation of it. Obviously, the actual original photo was taken; it was upside down because of the way they were. The only thing that
He's talking
changed
about
there is the orientation.
he's talking about the signature of it, Fight the Flat Earth, the
yeah.
ELA signature.
I just wanted to make sure Nathan didn't have anything to jump on.
Well,
So
and I would point out
that's
too.
been analyzed.
Hold on, Nathan. On that picture, you know that like Europe is not going to be on the other side. Europe is up and to the right of that picture.
Now Kyle's into the debate, right?
Yeah, now it's 3-on-1.
3-on-1. And his point is so retarded. He's going to say that you're only seeing a quarter of the earth.
Above what you were seeing in Africa. So it's actually on that, technically on that side, on this side.
It looks like half. It looks like half of it's on this side, and the other half will be on the other side. But then you got to have.
Does that not look like half?
Well, technically, you have to see half the Earth. If you're at a distance where you can see the full frame of it, you're seeing half of the Earth right there.
They're saying a quarter.
No, that's not
three other sides they're saying to it. Yeah, listen carefully.
Asia, North America, South America, and Australia on the other side of that globe. Now, to forget that there's no satellites and no stars, just the fact that it's a picture of Africa.
So the fact that you can't see all of Canada or all of Russia proves it is a fake photo, right? Because Canada takes up one side of the globe and Russia takes up the other, not Africa. It's wrong.
Well, they got it tipped down towards the back.
Yeah, it's...
In my opinion, debunks the whole thing. You're not seeing enough of Earth's land masses for that to be a real picture
because
of the
they're
globe.
running it through this. It's real.
Well, Nathan, with respect, that's been disproved many, many times. Like, young blue skeptic, who is a 14-year-old boy, took some photos of his globe.
That's an appeal to a minor or a young adolescent. It's not even an appeal to authority now. It's to a kid. A 14-year-old proved this.
Yeah, he's 5-year-olds can prove it now.
Different positions across his room, showing that based on how far away and how zoomed in a picture is, can make it look exactly like that.
And there are stars in the
You're
background.
misunderstanding how scale and stuff works.
There are stars in the background.
Yeah, and also in 1972 there were less than 1,000 satellites in orbit. I think actually less than 700 from what I was doing my research. So you're not going to see a satellite that they were literally 3/4 of the.
You know how retarded this is? Come on, man. A satellite the size of a school bus. How many miles away do you think you can see a school bus from?
Maybe 10.
Maybe 10. I would say 3 or 4 at the most. The size of that school bus is going to be so small. But he's telling us that we'd be able to see it from like 100,000 miles away. Or no, you're not going to see it because there was only a few up there.
Only a few.
Or you would see them.
Back in 1972, there was only like 1,000.
the way to the moon when they took about 180,000 miles away. So they were a long way away. The moon was like a tiny speck. The Earth was a tiny speck to them. So that is perfectly explainable how you can get that much of what it is on one side of the globe. All you need to do yourself is get a globe and take some pictures of one side from different positions away, and you will see that the relative positions of the land masses change based on how far away you are in taking the photo. You can have two
That's
photos.
wrong. QNF completely debunked that. He did a thorough investigation with a globe in his room and his camera, moving the camera closer and further away and at different angles. The only way you could really distort the sizes is when you manually skew it, when you tilt your camera on a certain angle, right? Q really busted this guy's statement up real bad.
Side by side, exactly the same, of North America looking massive in one and small in the other, yet the globe is the same size. And that's because one would be taken close and one would be taken further away, but then just zoomed in. So you can get different relative land masses based on how far away the picture's been taken from.
Nathan, do you have anything in your car that you could, like a piece of paper or something that you could crumble up real quick?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I got a piece of paper I can crumble up.
Into a ball. All right, crumble up a piece of paper up into a ball like this. Just crumble up into a ball. Now hold it out from you. Hold it out from you and take a look and look at it. Are you seeing 50% of that? Are you seeing 50% of that ball straight on?
I mean,
or would you say less than 50? In other words, almost like a cube, there'd be 4 sides to it.
So it's like when Kyle asked you if you had the feeling, no, not the feeling, but if you got the impression that he was leaning towards the fact that we never went to the moon from his correspondence with Jaron.
Yeah.
He just walked right and you were like, actually, no, it did look like you were saying that. You're like, I don't like Jaron, but to be honest, Kyle.
It sure did, from what you said, that's what a person would believe because that's what you said.
And you know what you could do if you really wanted to test this fact, people? Take a soccer ball and draw a scale. And 1 inch, put a line. 1 inch, put a line. And then you can take a picture of it or physically look at it and see how many lines you can count. And then you can see, okay, if there was a sphere and we were looking at it, we would be able to see this amount of ticks, right? Wouldn't that settle the argument?
Yeah, well, you're gonna see half of it. It would have to be super close to you to not see a full half.
Look at the globe they have. It has like half the continents. It's got a little bit of Russia and a little bit of Canada all in one shot.
Exactly.
But this Russia would go on the other side and this Canada would go on the other side of the globe, right?
Yes.
Here's Africa, right? And the picture of the blue marble completely is against what they're showing.
He wants you to crumple up a piece of paper. That his little magic trick. That
if only Nathan could have seen this globe at the same time they were showing the other one and thought of it that quick. He could have said your own model. Your own model debunks your own picture. Because the people that made this globe know that you would need to see this amount of land, right? They got it wrong in 1972, people.
It was Nathan's point, exactly.
Yes.
Cell phone every 2 years. Technology updating every 2 years. Wait, hey, Fight the Flat Earth, you gotta stop. Just take another shot or something, but you can't interrupt me, okay? So check this out.
What you just said was
They update cell phones every 2 years, guys. Did NASA lose the technology to take a picture of the Earth from space in the last 40 years?
Boom! Why that was a hypothetical nuke that just went off there to their whole entire. Why are you showing me a picture from effing 1972?
Cell phones double in their technology every 2 years, right?
But we've gone backwards in the moon, the Earth from.
Never a real picture sense.
No.
Come on, that's honestly
Okay.
your guys' argument. Is we have a picture
No.
40 years ago of the Earth?
Okay, there's many more pictures of the entire Earth. There's one taken every 5 seconds by the Himawari 8. There was the classic image that you guys show of all the pictures of the globe. 3 of those images, I actually took it apart in one of my recent videos. 3 of those images are entire pictures of the globe. Some from Discover satellite and some from Himawari 8 and obviously the original blue marble. So no, there isn't just one photo of the Earth. There is many photographs of just the Earth that are not composites.
I'd love for this debate to stay strictly science. You using NASA is like me using the Bible to prove the shape of the
I
Earth.
didn't use NASA. Himawari 8 is JAXA.
Okay, well, all the space companies have signed the Space Treaty and the Antarctic Treaty. Look it up, and they all have vector symbols in the logos for the space companies. Do you know what a vector symbol is? Fight the flat Earth.
Yes, but that's totally not relevant as to what logo they have.
It's to represent the 90-degree angle in the goat's leg, because they're serving Azazel or the goat god, right? That's what that vector's for. So people know. It's not Satan's tongue, the serpent's tongue. No. That's the goat's leg.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't looked into it, but I trust you. I'll have to look into it.
Got to do with this, Nathan? What?
Okay,
like
well, if
the
you're
UN
saying
has
all-
the UN has a map of the flat. You know, what you say is the flat Earth map. That's not a signal or anything. That is just a fact that it's a way to show all of the countries in one thing. The United
Wrong map.
Nation is 178 countries with 3 member states that aren't in it. So the only way that you can actually display all those things on a logo is by using a projection of a globe like that.
Wrong.
Saying that
Wait,
they've
wait,
got
Wrong. You can project it in multiple. You can do it a butterfly. There's so many projections of the land masses. You can orientate it infinitely.
Yeah, it's a whole business. Like you can buy all these like funky maps to put on your wall, and they have
Yeah.
it just skewed this way, that way.
It's
which
limitless.
way. Yeah.
We've got about 10 minutes left. I just want to interject
He's saying you can only do it on a globe.
before I have to start reading super chats because we're almost at an hour and a half. So just keep that in mind with any last minute statements that you want to make. We got about 10 minutes left in the.
Lucas,
So
could you
don't go with the whole conspiracy thing. Don't go with the whole, oh, they've got logos, this and that, because it's just nonsense, Nathan, and it actually brings nothing to the debate. Yes, I am going to keep the debate about science because science demonstrably proves that you are a fucking moron.
How do you prove
Go
this move?
How do I prove the Earth moves? I don't need to. Bob from Globebusters did that for me.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because I called Bob.
I didn't see that one coming.
Oh, I love it. You know, it's because he watches our videos, right? The shows.
Yeah.
We were the ones that said Bob was trying to make it look like they proved the Earth was moving so that these idiots, the ball earthers, could come in and say Bob proved. If Bob proved the Earth was moving, he would have like a Nobel scientific laureate or Peace Prize. Not Peace Prize. What would he have? The scientific one. The Nobel. No.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's fake.
No, Nobel gives out a bunch of awards, I think. But oh man, yeah. If Bob's not the only person in the history of mankind to prove the Earth's moving. I'm sorry.
No, and the reference to the experiment that he's speaking of was Bob said he had a friend who had a gyro. Right? It wasn't even Bob.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with it. He never seen it. He never witnessed it. And he said
Bob is a fake flat earther. In case.
Well, this is what we said was going to happen.
Yeah.
We debunked it right away.
I'd like you to explain to me how Bob proved the Earth moves.
Well, with his nice gyroscope that he tried to hide in a box to hide from the heavenly energies and then still managed to register a 15-degree-per-hour shift.
What did he hide it in? What was it? Bismuth? A Gaussian chamber.
Faraday this and
Yeah.
bismuth. Yeah, I think so.
No, they couldn't get to that size of a chunk to fashion the bismuth, remember?
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't have been cost effective.
So, yeah, using that nice fancy gyroscope of his, he proved that there's a 15-degree-per-hour shift. And we all know that ether isn't real, so it didn't measure anything of that.
So
We also saw how Bob was actually talking with people trying to go, oh, this looks really bad for flat Earth. And in the next clip, he's going about, oh, yes, well, I'm not going to accept that answer. We're going to try and...
How could he be using Bob's bad acting? Like, we called this out like a year ago.
As it was happening.
That Bob was like acting, pretending that he had some, we got a really bad debunk experiment. I could find everything. We can't even talk about it. It might end the conference.
Well, we went through the Behind the Curve documentary and we dissected it like we did this. And yeah, it's in there. He supposedly shows Earth moving 15 degrees, and then he is on film telling somebody if this ever got out, this would ruin us, this would crush us. That's in the
And he was
documentary.
mic'd. He was
Yeah.
mic'd. And he acted like they filmed it without his permission. It was a secret.
And that's what Fight the Flat Earth is using as evidence.
He used that 1972 Apollo Blue Marble and his Stickman drawing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Explain it with a different way. Bob
So how do you
knew
explain that?
very well.
How do you explain that, Nathan?
Yeah, of course. Well, I spoke to Bob earlier today. Like I said, one, you don't have a clue what you're talking about because Bob doesn't even own a ring laser or fiber optic gyroscope. That was someone else's gyroscope. They misrepresented him in the Behind the Curve video, just like they misrepresented.
No, he said every single word scripted perfectly. Don't say they misrepresented him. He created that content. He wasn't a robot being Control F/right. No, he literally acted out those parts, Nathan. This is where we're gonna have to say something here. No.
No, yeah, that was scripted for the documentary. That
They didn't misrepresent anything. He said it.
some hot mic that accidentally caught him, right?
Come on. If he was mic'd up and being filmed, but he was telling secrets, don't let this out. Come on, man. It's so bad. It's so obvious that it was fake.
Our experiment at the Salton Sea. So what's going on is the ring laser gyroscope
And guess
also
what they used? What do you think would be the best surface or object to do a distance test with? Doom, doom, doom.
Water?
Doom. Nope. Doom, 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 doom. Do, 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 do. You don't have any other guesses? A distance sight test. You're going to need one thing with you.
Telescope?
Nope.
Distance sight test.
Naked eye.
Okay.
A mirror.
Oh, yes. Now I know where
A
you're.
mirror. Remember, I've been saying it for years and years.
Yes.
If you don't need a laser, you don't need a flashlight, you need a mirror. That's how
Yeah.
military spots people on further distances than our eye.
That's how they were able to send messages back and forth between ships, is
Mirrors.
flashing the light, which was a mirror that was reflecting. Yeah.
Right? So that's what Nathan did. He took our advice.
was actually used. It's not a ring laser, so you should stop saying that. It was a fiber optic gyroscope. They're optically set. They're calibrated using optics. So what happened was they detected a 15-degree movement and didn't figure out.
See, there's no proof of any of this. We don't have any data. We don't have any film. We don't have any live streams. Nothing. We just have Bob's word with a gun.
And now Nathan's saying what happened.
Yeah.
Until after they had already filmed that with Behind the Curve, that what was going on was they detected the 15-degree movement of the luminary bodies in the sky. They did not detect any movement of Earth. And that's why when Michelson Gale did his
that's
back in the day,
that right there. How does a gyroscope detect the movement of the sky moving?
It doesn't. It's impossible.
The gyroscope would have to be fixed to the luminaries in order to give you the 15 degrees. Explain to me that, Nathan. That right there is the huge flaw in that whole thing. It can't be measuring the sky. Right? It has to measure the ground where it's positioned, and it's not moving. It's not moving. It's not moving.
Never moved, except for during earthquakes. That's it.
followed that up with the Ares failure. Ares failed his experiment because he was trying to prove the Earth moved. And all he could prove was that the stars were moving and that there was no parallax. So you guys are misrepresenting Bob, saying he has a ring laser gyroscope. He doesn't even have one. And he never proved the Earth moves. He proved that the sky
did that
moves.
for money. He did that skit for money.
That's all it proves. So
okay, hold on. Okay, listen. So for one, no, Behind the Curve did not misrepresent Bob. They presented a clear, uncut view, uncut audio of him talking about measuring the 15-degree shift and 15-degree per hour shift. Now, it's really irrelevant as to whether or not Bob owns this ring laser gyroscope. Bob used a ring laser gyroscope in order to perform the experiment. Now, the question that I want to hear, the question I want answered from you, Nathan, since you have this direct contact with Bob, is that how exactly does the heavens or the heavenly energies, as Bob, I'm quoting Bob here from the actual video or documentary, how do the heavenly energies affect gyroscopes on Earth? I would love to know the connection between that. Like, how do the heavens directly affect a gyroscope on the Earth?
Well, it's not a gyroscope, it's a ring laser or fiber optic gyro, and those are optically calibrated. If you look at a regular gyroscope, the gimbal base on a regular gyroscope never rotates 15 degrees when placed on a table around a gyroscope. That right there should prove the Earth's not moving around this gyroscope, keeping its position. But it's
Nathan, hold on, Nathan, I got to stop you. I'm sorry, I know I'm interrupting you, but I got to stop you. Do you know why they use the ring laser gyroscope?
Yeah, they use them for flying airplanes.
No, I'm saying Bob. Do you know why Bob used the ring laser gyroscope?
No, Bob never did anything with a ring laser gyroscope. That was an experiment someone else did, and he got the results from it.
We watched the video of him
It
doing
doesn't matter. He presented the findings, okay? It doesn't matter who actually
So everybody's debating over tertiary evidence. It's not even first person. It's just a hearsay.
Yeah.
This is all science.
But it's in a documentary.
physically perform the experiment. Do you know why these fucks use a ring laser gyroscope?
No, I mean, you know, I mean, I called him earlier. I didn't ask.
Yes, I do know. It's high, it's got a high precision. That's why they used it, so that they could detect whether or not the Earth was actually moving.
So when I set up my spinning ring laser in my drywall room and I want to do a T-bar ceiling, in 1 hour it's going to have 15-degree drift. Are you out of your effing mind? Are these people retarded? Are they smoking crack?
No, they're just Satanists defending the heliocentric lie, which we're getting to the point now where we can see through it so clearly. It's effortless. It's ridiculous.
That laser doesn't move. When it gets up and spinning and plugged in, I've left them on for hours and hours and hours. If it's plugged in, it'll never leave that level as long as it's spinning. Okay? These people are, it's all lies.
So if
I literally build buildings with a spinning laser, literally, and I can use it up to like 100 to 200 feet. And when I'm past like a certain distance, I have to use an electronic target. Then I have to make a mark when the target gets to a certain, it gives me a pitch. These guys have no idea what they're talking about with anything in realistic using of these terms. I do. I understand how the ring laser works, and it never drifts, ever. If it drifts, everybody would build crooked buildings all the time.
Yeah, 15 degrees every hour.
If you don't know the actual connection between these heavenly energies and this gyroscope physically on fucking Earth, then you have no proof. You have no proof, Nathan. If you can't explain that connection.
Nathan, I just point out
I talked to Bob today, and he said you can pick.
It's actually this guy's proof. It's not Nathan's proof.
Yeah.
One of two ways. You can say it's proof the sky moves, or you can say it's proof the Earth moves. But you have to follow it up with the Aries failure, because Aries failure proved unequivocally that the sky is moving and the Earth is stationary. That's why it was a failure.
That's true. And your position on the map will dictate how fast the sky moves. That's it. Not on a ball, just on a flat Earth. Where you are has to do with the pole stars and the position of the sky rotating around you. It rises, it goes up, and then it goes down around you, or around a flat plane.
No. Sorry, you're demonstrably wrong about Aries failure. But first of all, Bob, why would you trust anything that Bob says when he's been proven to demonstrably to be a liar, like, about his flying qualifications and stuff? Well, you've just said that you've got this information from Bob, and
okay.
Bob's clearly not a trustworthy source.
Listen, I don't think we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to do last minute.
Right, okay, well, let me just respond about Aries failure then quickly.
You can do it. You can do it in your final thought, but we're doing final thoughts.
Yeah, sure.
I have to get to super chats. We're already pushing over an hour and a half. So Nathan, you want to start out with your final thoughts or last minute statements? Anything that you want to add that you didn't get to tonight?
Yeah, true that. Appreciate the time and the platform. Join the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion.
Okay, well, thank you everybody in the chat. This was a good hangout, like a throwback where we get to like take a look at what's going on. What are your final thoughts on the hangout here, Jay?
Well, like I said earlier in the chat, to me, the whole thing reeked of being hashtag same team. That that it was staged, that Nathan, albeit he didn't really push the AE mappa model, it wasn't talked about much here. He is an AE mappa model promoter, and so he was the fake flat Earth fighting the heliocentrists, in this false dichotomy, heliocentrism versus the AE mappa model. And I felt that Nathan, as far as presenting his debate against flat Earth, he like you said, he did better than the rest of the fake flat earthers that have debated. And yeah, he really did a decent job of exposing how ridiculously stupid these heliocentrists are. He really did make them look bad.
He did, from his car too, at that,
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job. There's way more he could go with if, he was into learning more, but he's stuck where he is. It's probably because he's a shill, but he ended up, winning that debate. Fight the flat earth is really bad, painful. Like it's basically fulfilling the prophecy that the wise men will become dumb, right?
Yeah. He's pushing it. He's pushing the limits of dumb right there.
He's proving it. He's fulfilling it himself. Like
Yeah.
The flat earth is fulfilling prophecy. I guess we'll be back on Sunday, and we're going to continue reading the lost books of the Bible. That was super fun last week.
Probably Friday night too.
Oh yeah, it's Wednesday. Sorry, I got my days all aligned. I've been working hard at everything. So yeah, basically, Friday we'll be back as well, and Sunday. Looking forward to it, man. Glad you're settled in and back to your live streaming position. And any last words or anything that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Well, brother, where did you hear this?
Only beyond flat Earth.